Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another edition of the KubeVirt weekly community meeting. I'm your host, Chris Caligari. It is 7:03 and we have many people have joined us this morning. So let's get started. Let me get my screen shared. There we go. The meeting notes document is posted to chat, so if you'd like to follow along on your local computer, you can. Otherwise, I have my screen shared. And if you'd like to add yourself as an attendee here, that would be nice. And we start off with introducing, making a little introduction for new people who have joined us this week. If we have anybody new and you'd like to say hello, now is your chance.
Hey, my name's Lewis. I'm a Red Hat employee. I'm just interested in the project. There's a couple use cases that we might have around KubeVirt, mostly around isolation. So yeah, I'm just kind of watching, just seeing what it's all about, and I'll just be in the background, kind of lurking.
Cool. Welcome aboard, Lewis. Many of
Thanks.
us are Red Hat employees, and we're trying to become less Red Hat oriented and more internet focused, but always welcome to have more people join us.
Thanks.
Let's see. Okay. I don't think anyone else looks strange to me. Okay, let's move on to our agenda. And of course, as a community organizer, I usually hijack the first bullet point. Sorry, guys. Some late breaking news yesterday. Our sponsor at Red Hat asked me if we minded releasing our slot at KubeCon EU. And we were going to have a very minimal presence at KubeCon EU anyways. Just having monitoring a chat board. We weren't going to do any official presentations or one-on-one meetings and breakout meetings. So I agreed to release our slot and let another community project take our place. Sorry, guys. I didn't get any volunteers, and the sponsor was really sensitive to the time zone that I operate in. I'm in Pacific time zone. I live just south of Seattle, Washington, and he was just really reluctant in having me run the presentation because of the extreme time difference. And nobody else wanted to volunteer, so it's sad, but if we think about it, it releases our time to really focus on having a solid presence at Red Hat Summit, and also Call for Papers has opened up for All Things Open in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I've been to All Things Open probably 5 times, and that conference is awesome. There's lots and lots of people go to that conference. It's got a wide range of topics, and I spoke to our sponsor about presenting at that conference, and he was surprised to hear about it because it's not something that we would normally participate in. So it really could be a good opportunity for us to talk to a user base that we would not normally get to talk to. So volunteers needed. It's going to be a hybrid event for sure, and possibly a virtual only event if things go bad with the COVID-19 spreading. So anybody that's interested in participating in developing that presentation or actually doing the work, let me know.
What kind of stuff is usually presented at All Things Open? I guess what's kind of the vibe of the event? I haven't been before. I'm curious how we would, I guess, fit within it. Like what would they respond to well there as far as presentations go with KubeVirt?
The good thing about All Things Open is we can use demos that we already have in inventory, introduction to KubeVirt and like GPU usage and virtual machines. So we could really start from square one. Whereas if we go to KubeCon, everybody already knows that we can run virtual machines. So we really have to do some pizzazz.
I see.
So, Dave, to answer your question, having looked at the things that they're interested in terms of potential topics, cloud is on there, Kubernetes is on there, containers is on there. So, as Chris had said, anything that's like a direct intro to KubeVirt even would be fair game because it's not within their wheelhouse and it is something that they have listed that they're interested in.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty simple.
And I've gone to Ben Sutter. Presents at All Things Open every year. And if you've ever seen him speak, you walk out of his presentations with like the hairs on your neck rising. Like his presentations are so awesome. And I saw who was the big blockchain or the big Bitcoin guy. He's a Greek fellow. I can't remember his name now. I've got his book. And same thing, like just this presentation after presentation that is so amazing. So for us to be able to, if we can get in there, we got big shoes to fill. And then we also have till April 30th to put together our paper and petition the All Things Open board. So about 2 weeks.
Chris, a suggestion on that front. I've seen done in the past, it might help if we track a spreadsheet or, I mean, it doesn't have to be complex, but just so we can coordinate who's trying to do what in terms of proposals.
Sure. How about I create an issue in the community repo and we can track it through that.
Great.
I created a board in GitHub also for community activities. So that might, just a basic Trello-like Kanban board. So that should help us keep track of things also. Okay, if we're all done with that topic, we can move on to Shirley's topic regarding KubeVirt metrics. Is Shirley with us today? Does not appear to be so. David, do you want to reach out to her offline and see if there's anything else that she needs to get this pull request moving?
Sure. And let's see, which pull request is that?
5419. I think we wanted a high level design on this one also.
Oh, I already merged this. So what she's done is she created a kind of policy around the naming of our metrics and how we introduce alerts. So when we introduce alert, now we want to couple that with a, I guess we're calling it a run book, which is pretty standard, which kind of describes, okay, so this alert happened, here's what you can do to gather information and potentially solve it or
Cool.
investigate it. Sorry?
I said, cool.
Oh, okay.
That's a run book is fantastic.
Yeah, so I think from an operational standpoint, this policy is fantastic. Yeah, absolutely, because we'll have alerts with more descriptive, like priority, like or severity, and then somebody can look up that alert in our runbooks repository and see, more information about what it means and how to resolve it. So it didn't really, it read a little bit more like a proposal. I mean, not a proposal, but more like a guidelines, similar to what we've done with our CI guidelines and stuff like that. So I recommended that she just go ahead and contribute that to the KubeVirt docs repo when it kind of popped up into our design discussion. And I agree with everything she had in there, so I acted. The other big notable thing is our metrics. We just need to follow the conventions that already exist today in Kubernetes. So when we're creating a metric, use like the KubeVirt prefix or the KubeVirt_VMI if it's specific to a VMI workload. So that's the big thing. We need to use those prefixes. It's kind of like a namespace for us, so we know people understand like what the metrics are related to. And when we pick a name for those metrics, pick a name that it's similar to something that already exists in KubeVirt. So for example, we have a container that has network received packets total. Then if we're going to have something similar for a KubeVirt virtual machine instance, representing how many packets have been received, go ahead and say KubeVirt VMI network received packets total. So if we have similar metrics, choose the name that already exists and put our prefix on it. Yeah, but the rest of the policy has already been merged. You can look at our docs, and it's called Monitoring Guidelines. And that's a good place to kind of get, I guess, more information here.
Is that something that should be in user guide?
It's like a development. It's more of a development thing. So for people, I think it needs a user guide presence. I'll delineate the differences. This document is a guideline for developers who are creating new metrics and alerts. It tells them kind of what we expect and how we expect it to be structured. From the user guide, I think we need to start talking about, if we haven't yet, the metrics, the kinds of metrics we expose. I don't know if we need to enumerate all of them, but at least kind of describe, like, here's how you can find, what metrics we expose, and here's what happens if you see an alert. You can go to this directory and this repository to get runbooks and things like that. So the user guide should be from the perspective of an operator, whereas this document that she's introduced is from the perspective of a developer.
Gotcha. Okay. That is the only two topics we have on the set agenda. And does anybody have anything to talk about for the open floor?
Yes. Andre from the desk. I put in on the chat window.
Okay, what do we have here?
Is double D. D desk.
Oops. Sorry, that was a spelling mistake. I knew that.
Copy since we are installing and everything, and then the link, and then missing.
Okay, you have a lot here. Where would you like to start?
Since we are installing solution on Google Cloud.
Okay.
And his topic is Google Cloud GPU. Okay.
This one here. That's enable nested virt. Well, so missing how-to for nested virtualization, installing KubeVirt, and sharing virtual GPU to guest virtual machines. I thought we had Google
I'm not
Cloud.
entirely convinced that vGPU can be nested. I know that like PCI devices can be nested. For this, you will need the L1 virtual machine to have a virtual IMMU device. Without
This is done. This is done on vGPU. Can I send a picture?
Sure. If you prefer, you can reach out after the call. I don't know.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah.
But this is something that we are working on. On bare metal, this works, let's say, smooth. But on GCP, we are getting some errors. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work.
Yep.
And this
Not very familiar with what GCP does, but
yeah.
if you would like to look, so we have one of the tests in our KubeVirt CI is basically doing something like that. It creates a VM. A VM assigns virtual IMMU device, and then we reassign it to a test VM that we start on that L1 node.
Then for you understand, they're going to be L1, L2, and L3. You understand?
Oh, so
on the
three.
GCP.
So it's like nested twice.
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure.
Because since the L1 belongs to Google, then I enable nested virtualization. Then the virtualization is available on the VM itself. Then I virtualize over KubeVirt to be able to have guest VMs.
Keep in mind that every layer will require additional memory overhead. So I'm not entirely
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
We are aware of that. We have several gigs of memory to do that.
Okay. Seems like you're in the right path.
Yeah.
Andre, would you like to forge the path on providing documentation on how to do this? I don't. My team doesn't
it's
really
working,
have a. Yeah.
when it's working, yes.
Well, feel free to reach out on Slack and work with us in real time. I have people that can help you in European and Eastern, Central, and I'm in Pacific time zone. So we have a pretty good worldwide time zone coverage.
Mhm.
The only problem is we don't have a budget to run cloud. We might, but I'll have to check.
I can provide that.
Okay, well, we got the hands to no.
I have the resources already for
Great.
you know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Let's make sure that we have an issue for this. Actually, I'll just do this after the meeting.
okay. This is very important for us. On my Google Drive, Google Drive is not updating like on real time. I don't know why.
On the document,
On the document.
I'm gonna chalk that up to Google not moving the bits around the world fast enough. Is everybody else seeing updates?
Well, when
It works
finished,
for me.
share with me again. See, I'm not listed here.
No, you're not listed.
I can read, but I cannot write. And
Gotcha.
Since I'm not right, I cannot see the updates.
Yes. So in order to write, you have to be a member of the KubeVirt dev mailing list.
I'm already.
And you're using the correct Google account.
Let me see it. If I change,
That I have
because
about
I have
10
several accounts. Yeah.
That messes me
Oh,
up
probably
every
that's-
time.
Oh, I need to change.
All
You
right.
don't use the correct one.
Okay. Oops.
No.
Okay.
I'm seeing only what was on the beginning before you update everything. Well, go on. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, we can. You and I can stick around after we finish the meeting and figure that out. Sound good?
Great.
I think that was the only topic we have here in chat. Sure looks like it. Yeah, we will definitely be happy to help you with figuring out that GPU problem in GCP. Okay, anybody else for an open floor topic? One, two, three, and moving on to important pull requests. We have a topic for libguestfs integration. Alice, would you like to talk about this?
She's unmuted, but we're not hearing her, so she might still have audio setup issues.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, much better.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I have been struggling a lot with Zoom. Yeah, so I opened this PR a couple of days ago. This PR actually is composed by two parts. And I would like to have more feedback on the first part, that's actually the image. So basically, I'm trying to find a nice way how to build and then integrate libguestfs tool. There is also another repo in KubeVirt. This is already using libguestfs, and that is the Tecton repo. So currently the problem is that the Tecton repo download the libguestfs appliance from a public URL. But these appliances are actually quite old and not really updated. So in the part of this PR that is building the image, I am also creating the appliance. So this could be the common place of this PR and updating the libguestfs appliance that the Tecton task is using. There is also this topic in the KubeVirt mailing list. Let me just copy. Yeah, so this is currently my question is if you have any suggestion, ideas how to integrate this. And the second part is basically I'm adding a new command to VirCTL. This is basically running a pod with the libguestfs tool and attaching the standard input and standard output.
So what would be the virt control client type? What kind of actions would you want to invoke from the client using this libguestfs tool?
Yeah, so basically this tool is creating a pod with the image that I was talking before. So it has all the libguestfs tool inside. And this pod has also a PVC mounted. And I'm basically attaching standard input and standard output to this pod. So this, for example, is very useful if you want to debug a PVC. So maybe you create some wrong partition or your disk is not booting correctly and you want to check what's going wrong with the disk. So this is a way you can interactively check a disk on a PVC.
I see. Interesting. So the tool would be used to create essentially a shell.
Yes.
Okay. It wouldn't be to automate any, like resize or something like that.
No, no, it's
Okay.
so this is already a little bit what KubeVirt Tecton tasks are doing. The problem with not doing some interactive task is that Kubernetes right now doesn't have any locking mechanism. So basically we are not protecting the data that are on a PVC. So as a first step, I just introduced this command, because with an interactive command, I'm checking before creating the pod if the PVC is in use by other pod. So it's not the best way how to check if a PVC is in use, I know, but that's currently the only way to do that.
Okay, I kind of get it. I think one thing that might help us further the conversation is a list of kind of user stories or use cases. Maybe you have that. Sorry if I missed that. I'm just getting up to speed with it now, but that might help us a little bit.
The use cases are various, and there is resize, there is debugging, there is also customization. But before also digging in all the use cases, my first question would be how to build this image, because you are already using actually in the Tecton repository. So in the Tecton repository, if you look at the Dockerfile, you are basically download a tarball that contains the kernel, the initRD, and the root for the libguestfs appliance. The problem with those is that it's like 2 years old, and it doesn't seem that virtualization team in Reddit is going to publish new version.
Yeah, I see what you're getting at.
But it's actually pretty easy to create the appliance. So there is a tool called libguestfs make fix appliance. So it's just enough to run this tool, and it's possible to build actually the appliance.
How often, I'm trying to see where so I see all these RPMs. Are we sourcing in your PR libguests from the Fedora, libguestfs from the Fedora repos now, instead of an RPM like the Tecton?
If you look at the PR, you can see that I have in the hack directory a Dockerfile. It's necessary to have a Dockerfile because we need to run some post scripting install. Yeah, so this is basically in the main file I'm extracting the appliance. Yeah, so that's exactly the main file I'm talking about.
I see.
So yeah, there you can see I am running this libguestfs make fix appliance. And this has to be run in a Dockerfile because with Bazel, the PostScript steps are not run, so the appliance is not actually generated. You should just simply install libguestfs. And in DPR, I am basically extracting the files from the image, and I am copying with Bazel. So if you go just a little bit down, you can see the build bazel. And there you can see the 4 file that I'm copying in the image. To scroll a little bit. There is a build bazel. Yeah, there. Oh, I see. No, it's a little bit. It's the other one. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there you can see that there is.
I can't fix it. I can't fit this one on my screen.
Yeah, sorry.
Little monitor.
Yeah, and it maybe takes sometimes, but you can see that I'm copying kernel, and this is how you can build image with Bazel.
Is there a way to avoid that DNF install of libguestfs in that Docker file?
I have to check exactly what are the minimal requirements, but I will guess so, because you need guestfish to create the appliance. So I think it's already the minimal setup.
I guess I'm not completely understanding. So you're pulling in the kernel and things like this that are necessary for this appliance using Bazel, but then I see. Oh, I see out. Wait.
I don't want to steal all the entire time. I just wanted to point out that the appliance, the libguestfs appliance, is the common place of this work and the Tecton, because the Tecton repository is using a pretty old libguestfs appliance. So maybe we could combine and create the appliance in KubeVirt.
Okay, so just taking a step back from all of this, I think that makes sense to do that in KubeVirt if we have solid user stories for how the KubeVirt repository is going to utilize this appliance. So if we have like virt control executing this for some reason, or it's used in one of our workflows within KubeVirt or whatever, if we can justify that, then we can justify shipping and publishing this appliance.
Yep. I can reply to the mailing list with some concrete use cases. You have already some in what Tecton is doing, like customization of the disk. Debug is also important, but there are also other. Actually, Alexander Wells replied with some use cases for CDI. So if you look at in the mailing list, there are also already some use cases there.
Okay, and if it doesn't make sense in the KubeVirt repo, I think there's a good chance that CDI might accept something like this easier, but you know, we'll see. But yeah, I think that there's definitely a way for us to share the same appliance across multiple repos and do that in a way that gets a regularly updated appliance with like sync to some schedule that we already produce releases for. I think that's reasonable.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, anyway, there is this mailing list thread. Feel free to reply there, or we can discuss it offline in more detail.
Sounds great. I will try to follow up on that as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Last year, when I presented that running a Windows application on KubeVirt demo, the libguestfs people came down on me like a ton of bricks and really wanted to know why we had to do a virtual disk conversion when libguestfs could do it in line. So hopefully this is a start in that direction.
Yeah, actually installing some additional kernel module or a tool, that's one of the use cases.
Very nice. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you too.
Okay, anything else before bug scrub? And all right, David, do you have a time to lead us through a bug scrub this week?
Sure, but again, my screen doesn't share.
Ah, I'm beginning to
I can do it.
suspect here.
Yay!
All right, go ahead and take over, Peter.
Thanks. All right. We have a lot to go through, and we have 12 minutes. So let's start. Should report error when BMI cores is less than or equal to 0.
Is somebody, well, yeah, okay. If somebody explicitly said 0, I have no idea what, I don't even know what that means.
No, I think we have a validation for this. At least we will override it with 1. I think so.
We might treat that as if they set no core, like they didn't actually set. If you don't set the cores, you get some sort of default something.
Right. We always have 1. I think it's always will be reported to QEMU as 1, even if it's 0. But yeah,
Okay.
I can double check that. I just don't remember. I'm pretty sure that we didn't do anything stupid.
Let's ask. Could you please share what's the current behavior? Does it fail?
Yeah, we actually do in our mutating webhook. If cores is equal to 0, we just assume the default.
Okay.
And the reason that works, I think, is because it's not a pointer, so the default's 0 already.
Yeah, and then in the template, in the service template, where we create the pod, we actually also have some kind of a validation that it's not 0, because otherwise it won't calculate the memory correctly. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we do the right thing, but.
So I guess they want to hard fail when it's equal to 0, but that may, I mean, what happens to the default?
Surprisingly difficult though, because as I said,
Yeah.
if you omit cores altogether, you're going to get 0. So we can't distinguish between you asked for 0 and you didn't ask for anything.
Maybe they
I don't know what to do.
Maybe they want -1 to be a problem.
What happens if we just don't respond and let this one just rot forever? And just hope nobody ever sets 0.
It was self-assigned, but I mean, maybe they can figure out a good way. I mean, one way would be to make this nullable, right? So, but I'm not sure if it would be backwards compatible then.
This is.
I think if you
Is this really a problem? I guess my concern is we're going to spend a lot of energy on this.
It's a nice discussion there. Could you explain what on applies to out.
I think we've already spent too much time talking about this one.
Are we
That's the most
procrastinating on
resources
the rest?
I was willing to spend. No, it's a valid bug. It's just I don't know.
Okay, the second one. Cannot create VMs in OpenCI using GCP. So all our GCP tests are failing, and they failed to create VMs, and the error message is synchronizing the virtual machines that failed because failed to configure VMI network.
Yeah, so it's not able to talk to the Virt launcher's command socket. So what I'd want to know here is if Virt launcher is actually coming online. What are these logs?
You say there is no direct access to the cluster.
Okay, well, we can't do anything without Virt. I understand what their frustration is there. Okay. We can't fix it unless we have Virt launcher logs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to tell them.
Well, we need to figure out a way how to get them. So we won't be able to. I mean, typically when there's not enough information, we should fix the system issue and make sure that the next time we have all the info we need. Okay. The third one is BlockIO tuning. Need help pointers to contribute this. So this person runs multi-tenant cluster, and it causes high I/O. They want to expose libvirt attribute that's in the KubeVirt API, and it's not there yet. They ask how to do it. Do we have any nice PR that extended the API with something new from libvirt, and we can take it as reference?
The question
Because
is, do we really want to?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry for skipping that. Is anybody familiar with BlockIO tune element?
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's kind of a quota on how do you want to tune and for what, but maybe we should discuss it first. Like, how do we want to do this? I don't think that any other project really exposes. I mean, cloud projects, they don't really expose this kind of a low-level tuning.
I would expect this to be handled by the cloud storage.
Maybe there is some kind of a logic that we can implement to make this right. The question with the problem is, maybe we can ask if they've been able to tune this correctly, and then from this we can derive.
So you want to see if they POC using this to see if it really solves the issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I wonder how did this help in their case.
Have you confirmed that these attributes relate? Okay. Thanks. So that would be an enhancement. Needs info. All right. The same person reported this one. Unable to compile and run KubeVirt locally for development. And I checked it offline. I think it has some traction from Vasily. So I guess it's fine without delving into what's happening there. So it's issues setting up the environment. So I would keep it open and see if they will be able to resolve it on their own. And just use neat info. Okay. Virt handler is in fresh back loop after upgrade with 040 RC0. Isn't? No, it's not what we saw with 039. Is it?
Yeah. This is the node labeler.
Yeah, this should be resolved. So they're running on OpenShift with, I believe, emulation mode. It would have to be it's the only way it would work. And KVM device doesn't exist, I believe, and it causes Virt handler to crash because the node labeler can't retrieve information. It's been addressed. We haven't made a new RC that they can consume for 0.40.
Could you point me to the right one? If I remember part of the title or whatnot, so I could link it there.
Can you look for, let me see, what's his name? His name's Carl, but I forget his last name.
Yeah, Carl Simon.
Simone, yeah.
All right, sure. Yes,
that's the one. Let's see if it got into 0.40. It should have been backported.
Right.
There we go. Yeah, that's the one.
Awesome. Cool. This should be resolved next. Awesome. Okay. Data volumes have plugged to VM do not update their status to running. And Alexander responded. Okay. So I will ask Alexander, could we consider this button? Yeah, it just sounds like a misunderstanding in the API of the API. This one, gaming on KubeVirt. I was looking at spinning up Kubernetes cluster and separate gaming PC. As anybody know, can confirm they have been able to game on KubeVirt instance. Vladek, have you tried with the pasture, CPU pasture? GPU.
I know that people are doing that, but I'm not sure what else they do to make it work. I mean, it should work. I don't know if this with NVIDIA plugin or without.
People are doing it. Yeah. I mean, there's entire products built on that, running game clients. So.
find you may get better luck finding references to this use case by sending message to Virt mailing list. Okay, I will just close it so we don't treat this as a message board.
Oh, can you add the full KubeVirt dev mailing
Oh
list?
yeah,
'Cause they'll probably be like, what's KubeVirt dev?
let me. It's my Gmail always fills that in for me. So where would I find you? Ha.
Did you get it, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay,
I sent
yeah,
a link to the
great.
forum. All right. And we are on top of the hour, so I think we can wrap it up. We made the week into the past, so I think that's pretty good.
Yes, we got eight issues triaged, so another good chunk taken out of the list. We also have an issue in the website repo to handle getting access to that KubeVirt dev mailing list. Currently, the only way to find that information is clicking on a little mail icon that's way down in the bottom right corner of that page. It's not really effective in communicating that forum. Okay, top of the hour. Meeting is over. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you in Slack and the mailing list, and otherwise we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.